Virtual box, and I've already installed an image of Ubuntu operating system. If I go into the system, you can see I have assigned 4 GB RAM, and in processor, if I can see, we have 2 CPUs. The device is connected to a public network, and that is my Wi-Fi through a bridge network. Let's fire up the image, and if you are interested, you can download the image from the website osboxes.org. Here, if I go into images and search for Ubuntu, you can see there is a library for all the images like CentOS, Debian, Fedora, etc. I'm looking specifically for version 16.04. We need 64-bit. Okay, so we need 64-bit. So if I go back to our image now, let me write the password osboxes.org. So it will take some time. Okay, let's open the terminal here, and if I write ifconfig, you can see that we have a bridge network, as I told you before, and the IP address, and we have the MAC address here. So you can clone this image from a virtual box and create 3 other images too. I didn't configure a private network here. It's because I will be using the different approach where I will be using Vagrant, and I will assign different IPs to every node. Here I was just showing you how it works. So you saw how much time it took to load because we were using graphical interface. Well, we are only interested in the terminal window. So if we are using more than one machines, we don't want to keep doing this again and again. Okay, let's install Vagrant. Go to the Vagrant website and install whatever is suitable for you. I think it may take 300 MB of your disk space. After it is installed, open command line or any terminal in your operating system. In order to check if it is installed successfully, just write Vagrant version. As you can see, I'm using version 2.24. Okay, for Vagrant, I will download the image from Vagrant Cloud, Ubuntu Xenial 64. Just open it and copy the name. Okay, let's open the terminal or command line, whatever is on your operating system. Write Vagrant box, add, and paste the name of the image and press enter. Okay, after it is installed, you can go to the folder .vagrant.d, and in boxes the image is downloaded here. It is around 275 MBs. Now let's make a folder where you want to keep your running images. In my case, it is cube class. Let's cd into cube class and write Vagrant init and the name of the image, that is Ubuntu. Here in directory we can see a Vagrant file that is created. Now you can open this file in any text editor. I'm using Visual Code, so I will open it in code, like code Vagrant file. Okay, what we are going to do next is start writing some configuration. So let's define our machine with the master node 01. I'm gonna call it master node 01 with a capital N. Write configuration master node 01.vm.hostname. This is again master node 01. Let's give this machine a public network, that is public network, and we will also give it a private network, and we will define the IP address private network, and the IP would be 192.168.33.10. I finish the configuration by writing end, and that is our first virtual machine definition. I will copy it down 2 more times. Let's just change the names quickly from master node 01 to, let's say, if we write worker node 01 and change the IP from 192.168.33.10 to 11, and similarly we will change the master node in this third machine to again worker node, and I will change from 01 to 02, so we will have two worker nodes and one master node, and the IP address will be from 192.168.33 to 1.12. So, and the statement, let's correct some errors and we are good to go. Let's run all the machines by writing Vagrant up in command line. It will take some time. As you can see, we have configured all of the machines in one go. It is quite a faster way to configure images in Vagrant as compared to what we saw earlier. So let's give it some time, and after it is finished, let's go into the settings of master node and change the base memory to 2048 MB. And if we go to the processes, you can see that we have two processes. It's already fine. Now we will do the same thing with other two nodes, system 2048 MB, and if I go to the worker node 2 and change the system settings to 2048 MB, and I will write Vagrant reload, and it will take some time to update our new settings. I hope you got the idea how Vagrant file works. It describes the type of machine and how to configure them. Vagrant has a lot of benefits. For me, it makes life easier. So we can also check the status by writing Vagrant status, and we can see all the three nodes working, like they are running. And next I will dive into our first node by starting the master node 01 using Vagrant SSH, Vagrant SSH master node 01, and we are in the machine. So now if I write, if I have config to go see the network configuration, we can see that the public IP address and the static one too. If you turn off the machine and turn it again, your bridge IP can change every time, but your static IP will remain same. Static IP is used to communicate between nodes. So let's turn off the machine and check the other one, that is worker node 01, and let's again go to the network configuration and see the IP address. The static IP address is the same that we described in the Vagrant file. And if I ping google.com, we can check that the bridge network is also working fine. So let's move to the other worker node just to test it if it's working fine. SSH worker node 02, and let's go to the network settings again, and 33.12, we have the same IP address, it's working fine. Let's check the bridge network if it's working. Ping c3 google.com, and it's working fine. Perfect. Now when our environment is ready, we will start working on Kubeadm. The first thing is to install Docker container on all the nodes. For that, I'm gonna go to Docker website, click on Docker CE and then Linux. As I have installed Ubuntu, so I will click on Ubuntu. Now we just have to follow some steps. First rule is to always keep your nodes update, and as it is the first step too, I will copy these nodes to the our three nodes. Here I have opened three command line terminals in parallel, and I have done Vagrant SSH into these three machines. Leftmost is the master node and other two are worker nodes. I will just paste the update command in all the 3 nodes and we will wait for it to update. For the time being, let's copy the next step, that is to allow apt over HTTPS, and I will paste this command in all the 3 nodes again, in the master node and then in worker node 1, then repeat the process in worker node 2. Step 3 is to copy the GPG key. Repeat the process again, copy and paste it in all the nodes. First the master node. Okay. Okay, now the worker node 1 and then the worker node 2. You can verify the key by putting this command inside the command line, but we will go down and look for a stable repository. That is step number 4. I will copy the command and let's paste it in the command line, but first I will clear the screen. Oops, it's Ubuntu. So let me clear the screen first and paste the command, and it's done. Let's do the same process on worker node 1. Paste the command and done. And the worker node 2, let's clear the screen and paste the command again and done. I've placed the Docker repository, so let's do an update again. The same process, I will copy the command in all the nodes. Master node, enter, worker node, enter, and the last thing is worker node 2 and done. Let's clear the screen, and writing this command sudo apt cache medicine docker ce will give us all the available versions of a package. In this case we have dockers. Find the latest stable version for Ubuntu. Xenial, it's 17.03.3, and I will copy it and then I will use it to install dockers. Let me clear the screen again. Sudo apt get install docker ce and paste the version 17.03 and press Y. It will install Docker. Let's do the same with other nodes. Keep in mind we have to install Docker container in all the nodes. So till now we have done everything the same on all the 3 nodes. So they are basically the same, just a different name. Maybe you know that our application lives in this Docker container with all of its dependencies and libraries. Our app will be accessible over HTTP. As in the previous video we have already seen how we exposed hello world echo. We will look that part in future when we create a simple app in Python Flask. Right now we are just learning the basics of Kubernetes. Let me clear the screen. We can check if Docker is successfully installed. Just write Docker version and it will give the current version of our Docker. Let's check it on all the nodes. Now it's time to install Kubeadm. Here is the website where you can find all the instructions of how to install Kubeadm. Before you begin, look at the requirements to run Kubeadm. Like Ubuntu, we have already installed it. We change the system memory of each node in VirtualBox to 2 GB and it's perfect. And we already have 2 CPUs We also configured public and private network, and we checked it in network configuration. Each host has a unique host name, MAC address, and product UUID, but we haven't checked product UUID before. So let's check it by looking at this command. Copy it and paste it in all the nodes. This command will show UUID of each node. So let's see, we have different UUID for each node, so we are good to go. Let's scroll down and see what we have here. Okay, Docker is already installed. We need these three packages, Kubeadm, of course, kubelet, and kubecontrol. We will install all of them in one go. Let's install these packages for Ubuntu operating system. Okay, I'm gonna take this first command. It will update and install curl on our nodes. I will change to root user because there are a lot of commands to enter that needs root access. By just writing sudo su, you can have root access. So similar to node 1, and then finally in worker node 2, the same steps. Repeat the same process. Copy next command, that is curl and apt key. Just copy it and paste it to the command line on all the three nodes. Okay, worker node 1. Let's clear all the screens. Clear. Okay, now next command is a cat command cat command with end of file and deb instructions. We'll do the same process, copy and paste it in all the master and working node. Okay, done. And now the most famous command, apt-get update. Okay, let's do it in master node, then in worker node 1 and worker node 2. Okay, this is the time to install kubelet, kubeadm, and kubecontrol. This will install all of the three packages in a one go. Let's install it on master node and worker node 1 and finally worker node 3. Sorry, worker node 2, that is the third node. Let's exit the root user by typing exit and also clear the screen. Okay, now our next step is to initialize master node, and we will do this process on only master node because the other two nodes are just a worker node and controlled by master. In order to connect our Linux containers, we will use Flannel. When initializing kubeadm, we will also pass a port network and an API server in our command. I will copy kubeadm init and paste it in our master node. Also add the port network in this command. And then finally add an API server. It will allow master node to listen to a particular network. Okay, here it is. Copy this API server Now change the IP address to 192.168.33.10. That is the IP address of our master node. Okay, the user is not running as root. Okay, I should have added sudo before the command. So let's try that again. This will pull some images from the internet and it can take some time, depends on the internet speed. So okay, here we have certain commands to type, but before typing them we will copy this last command, that is kubejoin, and we will copy it to another place like notepad. Okay, now let's copy this command and paste them in the command line. First we will create a directory .cube, then we will create copy some files in cube configuration, and then finally we will change the ownership of config file. Now the last command we will take is the flannel file and copy it to the terminal. I will paste it here and press enter, and our master node is ready. We can now check if our system is up and running, because it can take some time. So we will use this command kubectl get ports all namespace. Okay, we can see here core DNS API server. These are all components here. The status is still pending, so let us wait for them to finish. So we have successfully configured our master node. I'm gonna take kubejoin command from notepad that I copied earlier and pasted it to work node 1. Not run as roots. Okay, again we have to use sudo. Okay, it's done, and let's move to worker node 2 and paste the same command there. Okay, the node has joined the cluster, so both of the nodes are now connected with master node, and we will see how by writing kubectl get nodes, and you can see that worker node 1 and worker node 2 both are ready and working. I will run nginx image by typing kubectl run nginx -- image equals nginx. Okay, now it's created. If I write kubectl get ports, we can see nginx is deployed but is not ready yet. It will take some time to get ready. Not yet. Okay, we are done here. Let's go through about what we did today. We learned how to create virtual machines using Vagrant and how to configure Docker on all the 3 machines. Later we installed Kubeadm. We also selected one of the node as master and configured it. Finally we connected worker nodes with master node. In my next video we